let's take a look at a bunch of former players who I'm still surprised ever became football managers. Joey Barton. Yep, Joey Barton is a football manager. The lad who once used a teammate's face as an ashtray. The lad who once went to jail for beating up a kid outside McDonald's. Oh, and let's not forget the time he turned Usman Dabo's face into watered down mashed potato. Joey Barton is the sort of man who'd start a fight in a phone box. He once tried to beat up half the Man City team and their bench when he was sent off a QPR a few years ago. And now he's an authority figure as manager of Fleetwood Town. Considering his playing days were ended by the FA, of course they were, I didn't think Barton would end up in management. Roy Keane. Now, unlike Joey Barton, Roy Keane was one of the greatest midfield generals the Premier League has ever seen, but by God, he was a hothead that would probably make a nun cry. His Manchester United career was effectively ended after he slated to have his teammates as a guest pundit for MUTV. I mean, to be fair, they just got battered 4-1 by a team with Stuart Parnaby and Chris Riggett in it. I think he was right to have a go with the likes of Darren Fletcher and Kieran Richardson after that. What I did not see coming was within less than a year he'd be picking up the reins of management at Sunderland. To be fair, he did a great job, rescuing them from the pits of the Championship into the Premier League and kept them there. I mean, his management career has since fallen apart at Ipswich, once everyone got tired of being screamed at by a man who was getting further frustrated at coaching a bunch of lads who didn't even have an ounce of his ability. I mean, Jack Colback, really? Lee Bowyer. Okay, we've already touched on hotheads. Lee Bowyer nearly went to jail for putting an Asian man in the hospital. Not only that, but he was a menace on the pitch. Not just to the opposition either. Remember that time when he tried to beat 5 shades of pulp out of Kieran Dyer because he committed the cardinal sin of not passing him the ball? Yep. This man is a football manager. It's like finding out that fella you grew up with, who used to sleep outside and down tins of paint, has now become a father. Lee Bowyer is now responsible for over 20 up-and-coming careers at Charlton Athletic. May God have mercy on us all. Chris Hughton. Now don't get me wrong, Chris Hughton is a fine manager. I'm just surprised that he is. Football management seems to be a job where nice guys finish last. A coach for 10 years, he was effectively thrust into management once Newcastle tumbled out of the top flight 10 years ago, with Mike Ashley seemingly not too bothered about finding an actual manager to guide them into the Premier League, or, you know, even just giving Alan Shearer the courtesy of a phone call. To Hughton's credit, he masterminded a title win and then terrific victories over Aston Villa, Sunderland and Arsenal before getting the chop in favour of Alan Pardew, because apparently he wasn't experienced enough. He's since gone on to coach Birmingham, Norwich, and now he's doing a wonderful job at Brighton. Fair play to him. Gareth Southgate. Another example of a nice guy prospering in management. For Christ's sake, Gareth Southgate looks like a fellow who burst into a flood of tears if you told him he didn't like his shirt. Relegated the same year that Hughton was given the job, Southgate was sacked at Middlesbrough in October 2009 and hasn't been given a club job since. You would have been forgiven for thinking that was all she wrote for nice guy Gareth. You had a good run, you spunk £12 million on Alfonso Alves, it's over. No, he's now the goddamn England manager. Have to say, I did not see that one coming. Paolo Di Canio. To be fair, Paolo Di Canio has been out of work since being sacked by Sunderland nearly 6 years ago now, so I'm not sure I can count him anymore. He only had 2 years of management, 2 seasons at Swindon and then 13 games at Sunderland. Derby win aside, it was pretty disastrous up north. John O'Shea and neo-Nazi fascism don't really mix. But yeah, this is a man who once pushed over a referee and was generally as mad as Badgers. Whose idea was it to give him the job of manager? Gennaro Gattuso. Gennaro Gattuso is another character of the game. A crazy character, let's be honest. And he certainly carried that into his management career at Sion, Palermo, Crete, Pisa and now AC Milan, where he's been temperamental to say the least. Mido. Yeah, Mido is a football manager. Mido. I mean, I was surprised too. I'd assumed that man had eaten himself to death on the floor of KFC some time ago. But no, apparently he's lost half the belly, got himself relatively in shape, and the former Spurs centre forward, who once threw a pair of scissors at Zlatan Ibrahimovic's head while at Ajax, is trying to make ends meet as a football manager in Egypt. This, a man who spent his entire career being an example of how not to act as a footballer, flushing his talent down the drain and swapping any modicum of professionalism for a cheeseburger and an argument with the coach. God only knows what the dressing room must be like at these clubs he's been coaching. There'll be more scissors flying through the air than that time the ADHD kid snuck into my art class. Nicolas Anelka. I'm sorry, but no, Nicolas Anelka as a football manager, that is like OJ Simpson jacking it all in and becoming a goddamn police officer. Nicolas Anelka spent the last 20 odd years causing more headaches than the best of Ollie Moore's album. To be fair, there'd only be about 3 songs on that. Anelka was a talented striker, but there's a reason he's had more transfers than toes on his feet, or teeth in the head of someone from Sunderland. He was a problem child. Well, anyway, he's since player manageable with Shanghai Shenhua and Mumbai City, and is now in charge of the Lille youth team. Considering teenagers are already stroppy and hormonal, their parents are going to find them unbearable after a year in the clutches of La Sulk himself.